Hello everybody! Today we're going to unbox, take a close-up look and test the Afufu Fairy String Lights. So let's go ahead and open up the box. So this is a box of LED fairy string lights which has several lighting modes. So let's go ahead and open up the box. Of course popping that tab out and flipping the box lid open so you can see the fairy string lights are white in color with the casing of the LEDs. However, they are multicolored, and we're just going to remove the contents from the box and setting that to the side. So as you can see, it comes with a remote control, so I'm just going to lay everything in the middle of the frame so you can see what we've just removed from the box packaging for the Afufu Fairy String Lights. Okay, now we can move on and take a close-up look at this first item or accessory from the packaging. So it appears to be a remote control. As you can see, it is numbered from 1 through to 8, and then it does have on, timer and off buttons at the top row, and your dimming controls for brightness, either lowering the brightness or increasing the brightness. And the back, of course, let's slide the remote control from its clear plastic wrapper right there to give us a better look. Okay, so you can see it is quite a slim remote control and very light in weight, extremely light in weight, and just showing you, giving you an all-round look around the remote control. And it clearly has a protective battery tab right there to preserve the battery while it's stored away for transportation and shipping. And just giving you a close-up look at what kind of battery it takes right there. So it does say a CR2025 battery as indicated on the back section of this remote control. So it's nice to see that they actually have a label showing you the battery details, and over there the remote controls infrared transmitter right there. Okay, so nice clear view at the remote control for the Afufu Fairy String Lights. As you can see quite easily and clearly all the buttons that are on it, and giving you a look at the size as well. Very handy, very small indeed, resting in the palm of my hand right there. Okay, now we're going to set the remote control to one side and move on to the fairy string lights itself. So you can see there's a big cluster or bundle here. So it is a 13-meter long set of fairy string lights with a 3-meter long power cord. So 3 meters for the power lead, and then from that 3-meter point on, it starts with the globes right here, or the lights themselves. 10-meter run of them, so 10 plus 3-meter power lead, and they're about 10 centimeters apart. And just giving you a look at all the components of this set of Afufu Fairy String Lights. And you can hear that the globes or balls of the fairy string lights have a very tough sound to them. They sound really hard. And just giving you a close-up look to the controls. So there is what appears to be a control here as well, should you not want to control it using the remote control. I'm just trying to get the angle of the light to show you quite clearly what those different lighting modes are. So there are several lighting effects, 8 all together, including a steady on, which is at number 8. Okay, And of course there is the power adapter as well, right there, or transformer to supply power to the fairy string light. So a simple unit right there, 3-pin for UK or British plugs. And just to give you some close-up details as well, to the specifications of the power adapter or transformer right there. So quite a simple setup right here. Everything quite clearly labeled. Now you can see this unit here as well for the controls. And not quite sure what this section is over here with the clear round section, but nonetheless on this side is a soft silicone button right there that presses to toggle through the various modes. Okay, just to show you, giving you an all-round look to the back as well. Once again, you can see it does have very clear markings to the specifications and safety standards. Okay, so it is outdoor rated, so it is waterproof and dustproof, this whole set of fairy string lights including the controls and of course the power as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead and of course take a close-up look at this bundle or cluster of globes right here, or balls depending on how you want to call them. But you can hear the tough clicking or knocking of the balls against each other. It is very, very durable, very solid. You can hear that sound right there. You're not going to break them. I'm pressing really hard on them. Of course, you want to be very careful, but I can tell just purely from the noise that they make hitting against each other that they are fairly tough and robust. And you can see, just looking at the wiring that's going in, you can see the kind of thickness of each of these individual globes or balls right there. Okay, and size wise, just going to show you with one of them partially in my palm there, giving you some scale of the size of this cluster or bundle of Afufu Fairy String Lights. So they are multicolored and have up to 8 lighting modes. Okay, I'm not quite sure whether it's worth undoing a bundle here, because these things do get very messy and very time consuming to unfurl or unbundle. But we could try just with one section if I can find an end section to this. So let me get that section out and let me see where it ends, or where at least some of these parts are. Okay, now it's starting to become a bit clearer as I move the control box or separate it from the rest of the lights right there, so you can see how it kind of is packaged or is laid out. Okay, right there. Just trying to set it in the middle of the frame. And now we can go ahead and perhaps undo this, what appears to be, you can see 2 separate bundles now. You can undo this end piece on the left hand side. Just one side will do, because as I mentioned, we just don't have that kind of time to be undoing it all, and space as well. You can see this tabletop is not going to offer us quite the optimal viewing experience to show you everything in the frame. So here we go. We have just the end length of this 13-meter long fairy string lights. So as I mentioned earlier, there's a 3-meter section from the power lead, and then from that 3-meter point on, there is a 10-meter run of fairy string lights. So very, very tough. You can hear that tough knocking sound of these balls or globes of the fairy string lights. So giving you a close-up once again. Right there. And now let's go ahead and plug it in and show you the various lighting modes. So right there, wow, straight on, it is extremely colorful. As you can see, the lights just doing their thing. And of course, we do have the inline control box right here on the right hand side of the frame. And also don't forget, we do have the remote control as well. So let's just quickly toggle through the modes using the inline remote control. Over here, I guess what we do is just pressing on the button. So just tapping away there to show you the various lighting modes. So very, very colorful and relaxing to see. And it's also very reassuring to know that this will work outdoors very safely as well, being water and dust proof rated. You can see just toggling away with the various lighting modes. They're extremely, extremely beautiful, very pretty. Just watch, and the colors are just so vivid, as you can clearly see with all the activity that's happening with these fairy string lights from Afufu. So just pressing again, showing you the various lighting modes. So of course this one's pretty eye-catching with its kind of twinkling and flashing, and this is a slow fade one, fading in and fading out, and pressing again, giving us another mode once again. Okay, and just pressing on. This appears to be the final mode, or mode number 8, which is a solid on mode. And let's see. Okay, so the control appears to be just a single tap, just to toggle through the various lighting modes. So I'm just going to do it very quickly, pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing. Now it just occurred to me what this clear lens is about on the inline remote control box. That perhaps is a receiver for the remote control's transmitter. So we'll find that out in just a moment. So okay, leaving it at this mode for now and just bringing the remote control right across here and pulling out that battery protector tab and setting it aside, and let's see if we can get it going. So obviously there are 8 modes here, as you can see, 1 through to 8. Let's press on button number 1, and if I covered the control box and press off, it still turns it off, so it does receive the signal anyway. So that's just fine, and there's a timer mode as well. Let's turn it on again by pressing on the on button, but before that, let's see if we can just turn it on by going straight to the mode. Okay, nope, so we need to press the on button right there and you can see the lights coming straight into life. And we can adjust the brightness as well by dimming it or raising the brightness. Okay, so obviously you're not going to be able to see the remote control quite well with the lights shining away or dancing away in the background. But as you can see, remote control works pretty well and instantly with the various lighting effects as I tap away, and of course pressing off turns it off as well. Oh, obviously that was the on button. Off is right there on the right hand side. So very handy to operate these sets of lights with this remote control. So either doing it via this remote control or using the inline remote right there. Okay, so let's turn it back on again. Not sure how the timer works, no instructions are given, but there is a timer feature as well, as you can see, as indicated on the remote control middle button in the top row. But as you can see, it does work fairly quickly and responsively. And let me press that timer button. Okay, so it's nice to see that when we press that timer button right there, the remote control, or sorry, the inline remote box does light up. So if I press that, you can see that red light coming on to indicate that the timer is active. Okay, I'm not quite sure what the timer settings are, but it is active. So obviously a little bit more research needs to be done since there's no user manual that's been included with this package. Okay, and turning it off turns the lights off completely. So let's go ahead and just turn it on once again by pressing on the on button. And as I mentioned before and showed you that the inline remote control does control the settings as well in terms of the various lighting modes. So 8 altogether, including a solid on one, which is the final mode before turning it off. That's a good point actually, whether there is an off control on this inline remote. I don't think there is, because we did toggle through the modes and it just stayed on throughout, displaying the various lighting effects. So right through the various lighting modes of the Afufu Fairy String Lights. So 8 lighting modes altogether, including a timer mode, and of course the brightness of the lights can be controlled using the remote by dimming it or raising the brightness, as you can see. So pretty, very pretty and beautiful and very user friendly lights. So I'm just going to bring it into my hand so you have a nice close-up look right into the lights. So they're just flickering away, flashing away in all its beauty. And there's no heat or no noticeable heat anyway that it's emitting. Very cool to the touch. And extremely pretty to watch. So let's toggle on to another mode. I think this mode is one of the prettiest, having several different colors, the whole spectrum of colors here on offer, and fading very gently in and out. So very relaxing and calming to watch right there, and almost very magical in appearance as well. So I'm just going to toggle through the modes one more time. There. And again. So that's mode number 8, which is the steady on or solid on mode. So this is mode number 1. Mode number 2. Mode number 3. Mode number 4. Mode number 5. Mode number 6. Mode number 7. And finally, mode number 8, which is the steady on or solid lights right there. Okay, so let's have a look once again, quickly toggling through and stopping at what I think is the prettiest of them all. Okay, so that's the solid on one. That works quite nicely. Or even this one, which is mode number 1, I believe, right, following on from mode number 8, which is the steady on. So that's the Afufu Fairy String Lights. Thanks for watching and happy shining!